podcast episode, which I am joined by the wonderful Sean, as always.
Hello.
But yeah, how are things, good sir? How's you?
Things are all right. There's been a few ones at the start of this week, which is like involving my to where it is that it's that case.
There is that. Apparently, bring booze into.
Back to see his grandmother and introduce the.
Do you not know? Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Mind Over Madness podcast episode, which I am joined by the wonderful Sean, as always.
Hello.
There he is. What a wonderful man he is. Look at that face. Could look at it all day.
Please don't.
Please stop looking at me, James.
Stop.
It's a little hard when we're on Skype. But yeah, how are things, good sir? How have you been doing?
Things are all right. There's been a few little family blows towards the start of this week, which is like involving my grandma and stuff, and the whole big C word, which is
yeah,
not great news. But I mean, she's back in a care home, so
yeah.
I don't know. There's not really much updates to be had with that. But yeah, it's a sad series of events has happened. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty good. Went to watch Scream yesterday, so I'm happy about that.
That's the top.
I scream. I did actually wear this for it, so it's a bit
nice.
smelly.
Bit smelly.
But you know, I thought I had to wear this today because I just had to.
It brings back the aromas, you know,
Yeah.
from sitting in the cinema and stuff. So it's just immediately you can
The Cineworld
jogs everything.
Yeah. And it's like, if there's one day of the year to wear it, it's it's that case.
There is that. It makes sense.
But yeah, pretty decent. But how about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Been busy. Streaming, editing, doing all the fun stuff that we do in life. But yeah, it's been pretty good. Same for me in regards to family stuff going on. My granddad ended up going to hospital. We had I just had a photo sent to me on the weekend. Just my mum was like, "Oh yeah, this happened." I'm like, "Fam." So yeah, but he's fine. He's back home now, and or back in the care home, so he's doing good. Luckily, they couldn't find anything. They were just a bit concerned about his heart rate, but it's good. So
Yeah.
but yeah. Action-packed weekend of stress.
Definitely, yeah.
But
so my grandma was in the hospital as well because she got COVID, and then they were isolating her. But then she decided to go out of her room. But obviously she's got dementia, so she's not going to know she's isolating.
Of course,
and she fell down the stairs, so she had to go to get the paramedics and go to hospital. It's like, then because she's got COVID, it's doubly worse because she has to wait and there's
yeah.
But. Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, they're going to be scrapping all the rules soon enough, so.
Yeah, probably.
Well.
Hopefully be scrapping our Prime Minister as well.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But
yeah, a lot of stuff has happened.
yeah, it's going to be a very big episode. So if you are watching this, thank you very much for taking the time to do so. But I do believe that today's episode is probably going to be a lengthy one. Something I wish I was.
Every time we say that.
Every time we say it, it's just,
minutes,
yeah. 15 minutes, that's it, it's over. But there's a lot of big news stories that we're going to be talking about today. Of course, the acquisition of Activision by Microsoft is just buying everyone at this point. Like, that's a huge deal we'll be talking about today. We're obviously going to talk about Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his just excuses that keep coming out of the wazoo. And of course, we'll probably touch on Prince Andrew as well. So yeah, with that in mind and our weeks discussed a little bit and talked about, shall we get into the news, good sir?
I think we should.
Ooh,
yes.
Ooh, spicy week.
Right. Well, shall we start with the big dog?
Which big dog? Is it Andrew? Andrew or Boris?
Operation Big Dog, Prime Minister.
Yeah, Operation Head. Yeah. Sure, let's do it.
So yeah, I almost can't be asked to talk about this.
Yeah,
it's like it's been going on for so long.
It's such a it's one of those subjects, isn't it? It's like we know everything that has been said by him is false. We know he's lied constantly to all of us. So it's that topic that you're just talking about going, yeah, everything we thought, we're just confirming it. That's it. There's no more to it.
There's been party after party going on in Downing Street during the middle of, lockdown 1.0.
Yeah.
And we just I think there's like 14 reports of parties and stuff now. And messages coming out of suitcases being filled with booze, some kind of secret little child operation. And
a DJ.
DJs.
Don't forget though, Boris thought it was a works meeting, so
I know, and just lies and hiding investigations by Sue Gray. If I hear Sue Gray's name one more time, I'm going to turn into Sue Gray.
Oh Christ, it's just such a mess. Just leave, Boris. Just resign. Do the right thing. He isn't going to. He's going to wait until we're recording this on the 19th, so the week that this comes out, the thing would have wrapped up, and we'll know if Boris is lying, which he is. So I assume we'll see a resignation in the next week. But it won't be
still here when the next time we do a podcast. Then obviously
I'm out. I'm moving to Mexico. I've had enough. I can't do this.
Obviously they'll have pulled some strings, and we'll all have to forget about it.
I genuinely don't think he's going to get away with it this time, though. Oh, my simple reasoning, because it's just impossible. On the eve of Prince Philip's funeral, where the Queen followed every rule that the Prime Minister had made, he had a party in number 10. What the
Well, I think that two parties were with his staff, but Boris wasn't there. But it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, it's
how can you be renting your house out to have these parties?
It's not
in the basement and all this.
It's ridiculous, and the idea that he used he's not using that excuse anymore now. The excuse he's using now is, what was it? Because he last week he was using the excuse of, I didn't know it was a party.
And when I went into that garden just after 6 on the 20th of May, 2020, to thank groups of staff before going back into my office 25 minutes later to continue working, I believed implicitly that this was a work event.
And this week I think he said something along the lines of, no one told me the rules.
Say to you on that point, nobody told me that what we were doing was, as you say, against the rules.
Boris, you made the rules. You made the... How can you say you don't know the rules you made? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he came out and said, the fairy frog princess told me that it was fine to do it. I can believe him. The man is delusional. Yeah.
The fact that he just can't give a straight answer to any question, and it's got to be... the inquiry. Wait for the inquiry to come out.
It's crazy.
You need Stu Gray to tell you that you were at a party when you don't know yourself.
You need Stu Gray to tell you all the parties you arranged.
I know.
Boris, come on. No one believes you. Everyone is aware that you are a lying scumbag. And, I think I watched the PMQs briefly before we came onto this, so the most recent one, which I believe was today. And Boris got the floor wiped with him.
Yeah.
Keir didn't even have to try. He had someone from the Conservative Party, who is currently in a seat, switch to Labour.
Yeah.
So now Labour have got stronger without even having to try.
Yeah, he doesn't have to try anymore. He's got the loaded gun.
He came out with this banger of an insight. It was something like because all of Conservatives, as they do, they're all children in the House of Commons, whatever. They kept booing Keir or something. So when Keir stood up, he went, I wouldn't be surprised if someone sent an email out to bring all their booze.
Yeah.
To which I was just like, at this point, it's like a comedy roast. It's just and even
at least when the Prime Minister resigns, he knows how to pack a suitcase.
Yeah, that was good. I like that. But what was it? Even the Speaker himself was standing up and getting sick of this now, being like, look, enough with the shouting. Just get on with it. Yeah. We all know he's a lying piece of Borgadash, but let's just get on with it. We know you don't think he's a right honourable gentleman. We know you definitely don't think he's a right honourable gentleman. Let's just get on with this and hash it out. He was getting sick of it. Just look, just give the public an answer. Enough. We all know you're lying. It's time now to grow. Boris, you clearly have a pair of bollocks because you keep making children and lying about it. So use those bollocks to be a man and admit that you have messed up and just walk away. It's save your face, as much as you can.
I know. they just like tried to wiggle away around it. And what do you think the results of this like inquiry is going to be then?
Well, Boris will be gone, and if he isn't, then this country is beyond saving.
Yeah,
it's like the guy clearly. If he is still in office in 2 weeks' time, there is something flawed about this world now. Because clearly, at that point, it's like, well, you can't even disparage it. The Queen follows the rules. Government doesn't have to now.
And he had to apologise to the Queen as well,
which is
another
ridiculous.
Big thing about what prime minister should have to do.
This is the thing. He didn't apologise. He wrote a letter to her.
Yeah.
That's not an apology, but grow a set of bollocks and go and say sorry. I understand with COVID, just stay 2 meters apart. You made the rules, right? Oh, sorry, Boris. You didn't know what the rules were. Yeah. Every time I just forget. It's just, you just assume the person in charge knows what they're doing.
Yeah, well, the thing with Sue Gray, I think the inquiry's going to come out and she's going to like say nothing, criminal has happened. It's all a big misunderstanding. And because she was basically hired by the Prime Minister to investigate parties that he wasn't like supposed to be a part of. But then like more and more leaks kept coming out, delaying her job.
Exactly like that. Exactly like that.
And so he's become like the main focus of it now. So she's kind of damned. She's obviously hired by him, and she's his boss. Wait, no, he's her boss.
Yeah, that's the one.
So it's kind of hard. She's got a very tricky job. Like, is she going to instigate this whole thing, and Boris has to resign straight away? I mean, or is she going to kind of just wiggle out of it?
I mean, to be fair,
she's an independent, honourable woman, as everyone says. But
yeah, I mean, to be fair, she's probably already found enough evidence to be like, yeah, clearly this guy could be convicted for everything he's done. But
I want to throw my boss under the bus.
Well, I don't at this point. Yes,
do I want to be that guy?
I think that's the thing we have to question ourselves on: is Boris really the boss at this point? Really? Like, the idiot had to apologise to the Queen.
Yeah.
This man is meant to be running a country. He can't apparently bring booze into a place without using a suitcase. He's an imbecile, and it's shocking to me that he is still not. It's just crazy how he can get away with basically just saying, "Well, I've apologised. We're waiting for the inquiry to finish." That's crazy to me.
I know.
Why? Why?
It's just like, it goes to show that we're always told that, like, oh well, nobody is above the law, but yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
They can have, an investigation into it. I wish everyone else could have an investigation into whether they committed a crime, which they obviously did. And then spin it in a way that it's like not been done.
It's deeply disturbing, I think, more than anything. The fact that, because I think about everything that I've gone over, or not even just me, like all of us, right? All of us that have followed the rules to a absolute T, to the best of our abilities. The time we have lost, the moments that we have lost. And to think the man who created, I say created because he clearly didn't create them because he didn't even know what they were, created the rules, didn't follow them.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me immeasurably angry and sad. Because I just think when the British public are doing more than the government, at this point, how do we bridge this clearly unbalanced society that we now have? How do you fix that? It doesn't matter who's in charge, whether it's Labour, Conservative, doesn't matter. How do you bridge that gap now? That trust is gone forever. That never will be repaired. So what happens now? I'm not concerned about what idiot's going to take over after Boris. It's either going to be Rishi or some other twat from the Conservatives that's going to take over for a little bit of time. I'm not bothered about that. What I'm bothered about is, when do we come on equal footing again?
I think it'll be like the whole thing will be pinned on Boris. Like, after this, it'll be irreparable. Like, him being the untrustworthy one, and they have to do like absolute like squeaky clean politics from then on.
Well, Rishi Sunak,
in order for the next person to be, trusted.
Well, Rishi Sunak walked out of an interview.
Yeah.
He just waltzed out. He was like, "No, I'm done. I'm not answering any questions." Never happened before. Never. In the history of government, that's the first time apparently when he was immediately, the interview was meant to go on for longer, and Rishi just walked out. He got asked about Boris and resignation and things like that. 2 words that he's scared of, a name and a word. And Rishi just went, not answering it, and left.
Yeah, it must be frustrating because like you're literally told to say, oh yeah, make sure you don't say anything apart from wait for the inquiry, and they're being asked like 24/7.
Well, yeah,
so
but
what's going to happen?
The thing that gets me is I'm not a fan of press. I think all press are scum, regardless. They have an agenda. They're going to try and paint a narrative. However, the press is there for the same reason that the Speaker and the House of Commons is there. It's to get answers from the government and to question their authority, to get them to work to the best of their abilities. We already know the House of Commons doesn't work. The government doesn't answer to it. Now the government doesn't even answer to the press. They don't even give a lie or anything else. He just got up and left.
Yeah.
It was like, at this point, no one is there to hold the government accountable. No one is there to check their authority or their power. Who's to say that this doesn't flip in a switch again? Like, Boris will be gone. Great. Who's the next Boris Johnson? This is the distinct problem that is now brushing my mind. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just an obsessive overthinker that is thinking way too deeply on this. But it's like, you look at all the rules that got put in place, you look at everything we followed, the fact they didn't follow the rules, but when thousands upon thousands of people got fined tens of thousands of pounds, and yet he won't even get a scratch on his reputation in regards to wage or stuff like that.
No.
How would this need? Surely this isn't just me, right? It needs to be. This balance needs to be fixed. This isn't normal. This isn't how a society, or not even a society. This is not how the human race should work.
Yeah.
This is like living back in the Roman times with just that disparity. It's not exactly the same, of course not. We don't have parties of orgies. Maybe Boris did. Maybe that's what'll be uncovered. He had Roman orgies, but it's like
it's just the
same gap. The same gap between commoners and arseholes. That's and it's ridiculous.
It's just like the kind of mix between capitalism and democracy, and that's just there will be elite people out there who have power and wealth, and they're kind of above other things. And it will be the British way to keep calm and carry on, because
British,
like, there's nothing we can do about it. Literally powerless. So the next one will come in and it'll soon be forgotten, though. I mean, he's Operation Red Meat or something to throw like good things to us, and cut the BBC license fee, do this, do that, end COVID restrictions, send the army in to deal with the migrant crisis, stuff like that, just to like literally have us gnaw on this red meat whilst we forget about everything else. Crazy. And then Operation Save Big Dog, which is saving his own skin behind the super inquiry.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, man. I've lost all hope. I think in regards to that stuff, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy.
Right, we'll move on from Boris.
Yeah, let's move on from Boris. And
that turd will face his consequences.
Well, that's so. Let's move on to another turd that has faced some consequences, which is some good news. Now, I want to amend something that I said in the last podcast, because I think it was slightly inaccurate. I mentioned that Prince Andrew had been stripped of his royal title. That didn't happen until recently, apparently, along with all his accomplishments from being in the army and things, right? Yeah. The Queen has actually stripped him officially of everything. His title, his record, everything. It's all been stripped because he doesn't deserve it.
It's like very confusing because he's been stripped of his like HRH, so he can't be called like His Royal Highness, and he can still be called Prince Andrew, Duke of York, though. Yeah, which is weird. But he's lost a lot of his like patrons and all that, so he basically can't do anything. And he can't do anything official with the royal family from now on. But he hasn't been doing anything for the past 2 years anyway. Yeah, I was going to say, he hasn't really done anything, has he? So he won't get any kind of protection or anything like that. But I guess he'll just have to live off his mum's purse for the rest of his life. Mummy, can I move back into my spiffing bedroom upstairs? Yeah, and this is just kind of reinforced, like, I'm not, the biggest fan of the royal family, but I do love the Queen in some regards because she's just shown so much stoicism and dignity, and like she's made him sell his Swiss chalet to pay for his legal fees and stuff like that, showing some responsibility. And I think after private discussions with him that she will have agreed and had the final say of him stepping down and doing these things. It's kind of talks that don't happen in government. But happen amongst families and honourable people that have a duty to the people to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she definitely probably pulled him aside and went, "Oi, come here, you, come here. Now I've put up with enough. Deal with this yourself. You're a fucking grown man.
You're not ruining my jubilee.
Get." Then off you went. But
favorite son, you are not.
Turn into Yoda. Favorite son, you are not.
Charles.
Crazy. But yeah, no, I must admit, again, I'm the same with you. I'm not a huge royal fan, but I do feel for the Queen, and I absolutely the face she puts on for the public and her duties that she carries out are absolutely ridiculous considering everything going on with her. The typical British person sprains their wrist, they have to have a week off work. So, I can't imagine what she's going through.
I mean, you can look at her and just tell she is honest in everything she says, and like she doesn't have the capacity to lie or cheat or be sneaky or anything like that. So, at least you can fully trust her, in some regards.
Yeah.
So yeah, she is definitely a beacon of light in authority.
She definitely is, and I'm glad to see that she's taken some action, to be honest, on Andrew, and been like, no, you're actually going to suffer some consequences.
She actually had to make difficult decisions.
Yeah, I know. Maybe Boris should have a chat with her. Yeah.
I know.
But,
Well, apparently he has apologised, but, didn't let it fall.
Yeah, so he's too much of a coward to do it face to face.
Should have handed his resignation at the same time and been Keir Starmer.
Should have. Yeah. You couldn't have put it better. But yeah, no. I think it's crazy to me that Andrew is still going through these legal things and yet there's no answer. I know legal proceedings take a long time. And I definitely think that this is a start to his punishment, but it's nowhere near the maximum that he needs. He needs to be held accountable for what he has done.
Yeah.
I think it's a great start. I think, Liz, hat off to you. You've done a fantastic job. Thank you for stripping him of everything he loves and holds close to him, because quite frankly he needs that.
The reason why he was this new development that's taking place is because the judge in LA, was it LA or New York? I can't remember.
LA.
Not sure, but the judge proceeding over the Virginia Dufresne case is denied his request to have it thrown out because of a previous document related to Epstein and. Kind of dismissing everyone to do with Epstein, but that's too vague, isn't it? So
yeah,
the judge has been like, nope, it will go ahead, and now it's kind of going ahead. So he's only got a couple of options. He can either settle out of court, but I don't think any amount of money is gonna be enough to equate an apology or an admission.
Yeah,
which Virginia apparently wants.
I reckon this is the one time that it's going to be made an example of, or at least that's my hope.
Or he can ignore the charges and just have it lose by default. I don't know what would happen then. Or he could just go ahead and defend his name. Could be his chance to defend his name. So, but I mean, it seems like he's not very willing to do that, considering the amount of times he tried to have this case thrown out. It's I'm above this. Come on, silly little girl.
When you're actually a nonce, you can't really defend it. It's funny, though. I think that's why he's not defending it. He's just I can't defend myself. I don't sweat. Oh, for God's sake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's one of those things that's been, again, it's the same thing with Boris. It's it's been going on for so long. At this point, it's any kind of punishment is better than nothing.
Yeah. 2021 will be the year of accountability, it seems.
22.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still all doing that. It's still a thing. It's still January. It's allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
We're tired.
I am. So tired.
Still over it. 2022.
Yeah, but it's hopefully he will face some serious accountability for his actions, and he won't get away with this for much longer. That's my hope anyway.
Yeah.
Any other news? Specific news stuff.
Speaking of royal family, Prince Harry wants to come back to see his grandmother and introduce the child with Meghan Markle. I can't remember the child's name. Forgive me. But he's taking like some authority to court over the fact that he's not going to get his like police protection in the UK. He's offering to pay for it himself, but it's one of those things where it's more complicated than that. Like you can't just buy police protection.
Yeah, just go and pay for private security if you want.
Yeah, he does have private security, but they don't have the same intelligence as the UK police will have on his visit. So, go on, Roxy.
What? And he thinks that the British police are better.
Apparently, they have access to more intelligence, like in the local area and stuff. Which I suppose, suppose so.
I guess that's true, but they don't do anything.
So he wants that, but I guess he also chose to walk away. Go to the US and live his own life and. Should he still be entitled whenever he shows up to police protection, whether he pays for it or not?
No. Like I think maybe I'm heartless for saying that, but no, you don't, Harry.
Yeah.
Get, just I can pay for it. Can you? Great.
Yeah.
How does that improve your situation? Like it doesn't. To me, that's like some rich arsehole going, "Hey, excuse me, peasant, can you clean my shoes for me because I have money that I can pay you with?" No, that is not how it works. You cannot just waltz in with money. And go, well, I used to be a royal. Did you? Why'd you leave? Me wife.
Yeah.
So you don't have the bollocks in this relationship then?
Yeah. So he's been back to the UK twice since he left. And for the Prince Philip's funeral, he did get protection because that was deemed like a necessary security risk.
Yeah.
But for the uncovering of the Diana statue, he didn't get protection. Because it wasn't deemed like a high-risk thing, and this isn't deemed a high-risk thing, so there's nothing much he can do about it. But if it is deemed as high-risk, he will get the protection.
Basically, do you know the parameters that has to be met for him to be deemed high protection? So he needs something. I would imagine it would be. I don't know.
It's just whatever intelligence like the police have on surroundings, like plots or anything that might be going on, any intelligence they have relating to maybe an attempt or anything like that. But the only people in the royal family who have like full 24/7 police protection is the Queen, and Charles and Camilla, and who's the other son?
There's so many.
William and Kate. That's what.
Yeah, because they're still part of the royals.
They're actual working royals.
Yeah, funny that.
But everyone else only gets like kind of protection for events and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Princess Anne doesn't get much protection, but she's actually like in like 1979, I think it was. She got like kidnapped, or almost got kidnapped, because she didn't have that protection.
Yeah.
I found that like video on YouTube where she's like discussing it, and it's actually pretty funny. She's like so dignified.
Discussion. About where or where not we were going to go.
What did you say? What do you remember the discussion? I mean, what did he say?
Well, he said I had to go with him. Can't remember why.
And calm about it. She's like, we didn't have a very nice discussion, but I wasn't going anywhere.
Fair dues to her.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair dues to her for standing in the face of people trying to kidnap her and go, well, you can all sod off. Yeah. Fair dues. But I don't know. In regards to the Harry situation, I think that, no, this is one of the consequences you have for leaving the royal family. Absolutely, he had the right to leave, and if that's what he wanted, and that's what he wanted to do to make him happy, more power to him.
Yeah.
I don't think he should have been stopped from it, and I'm glad that he got what he wanted. That comes with a consequence, though, and that is you can't just wave money around and expect people to beg or bow down to your request. Who do you think you are? You're not the Queen. You're nowhere level. So, if anything, you've called your family racist, insulted them since you've left, and then you come back and go, oh, well, it's nice to see you, grandmother. That's just not how it works here, Harry. You realise the British don't like that.
Yeah, we can't just be at the beck and call of him.
Yeah.
But then again, it is sad that I suppose his grandmother hasn't met his
child.
child.
Absolutely, yeah. I think
what
that
can
is,
I do? Zoom it in.
I do feel sorry. Like this is the thing I said earlier. I feel so sorry for the Queen. She's gone through so much crap over the last couple of years, and yet
Why didn't he come over Christmas and show it?
yeah, exactly. You could have come over. Oh well, I was spending time with my family. That is your family. You.
Why do they have to make a massive deal out of it as well? Like, now everyone knows he won't get protection if like he comes over and stuff. So
No, that's
maybe
exactly,
someone out there is a chancer.
That's exactly why he's done it. Because oh well, now it's public. This is now deemed a higher risk, so now he'll get it.
And he suddenly turned America.
It's
American.
all it's all in mind games, and I you know, I'm not gonna crap all over his choice in women. You know, he chose to marry Meghan, and that's fine, and that's his choice. But you know, a lot of the times when you watch like them speaking together, you can clearly see that Meghan does not like the royal family. She just doesn't.
She's got a hand up his ass, like
yeah,
like
you're my puppet. Yeah, exactly. Mouth what I'm saying, and it's. Maybe that's not the full story. Again, I'm sure we don't know the full details. But with what she has said, how disrespectful she has been to this family. Like, the only time I think Harry actually grabbed his bollocks and said, no, I'm going to be a man about this, is when his grandfather passed away and he said, no, I'm going home for the funeral.
Yeah.
Because,
like,
ironically, she was
I don't
there. She wasn't there. Yeah, exactly. Kate was there. Yeah. William's partner. It's like, Meghan's never liked them. Never. No. Because she came from a world of luxury and being an actress. And, oh, well, if I snap my fingers, I expect a slave to come along and wipe my ass for me. And it's like, I'll be honest, I have my gripes with the royal family. I've never seen them with servants walking around straight after them. I've definitely seen it with Meghan. Just look at behind-the-scenes photos of her on set.
Yeah.
She looks like a diva.
Being like kind of the ruler of her own.
Yeah.
Her own like being, but the royal thing, it's like people kind of organize things for her, and she probably didn't like that.
And it's about being, you know, if you want to be married to a royal, you have a job to do, and it's as simple as that. And the thing is, again, Harry and Meghan had the right to leave that all behind, leave the royal title, leave everything, and live their life. That's perfectly fine. No one is suggesting that, but again. You can't just snap your fingers and be like, well, I want the police to do their job. One, they don't really do a very good job anyway at their job, best of time. Two, you left.
Yeah.
They don't care. and people might go, well, that's unfair. You know, he is a public figure. Maybe he does need, you know, protection and stuff. Does he? Like he said, pay for it. He's got his private security already. Just bring them across. Well, the intelligence isn't good enough. What do you mean it's not good enough? Do you not know America? I'm sure they've got enough intelligence to know if something's going to happen.
But then he brings it all back to, oh, well, it's paparazzi never leave us alone, and that's how my mother died. And paparazzi are annoying, but they're not murderers. Yeah.
Someone, like, don't get me wrong, are there risks if he comes over here and he hasn't got protection? Yes, absolutely. Yes. Guess what? That's the choice you made when you left.
He just has to deal with his own security.
Yeah, you left. It is now your problem and your mess to clean up. Plain and simple. You cannot. It's just disrespectful, not only to, you know, his family, but the population as well. It's this entitlement.
It just scream of making a big story to try and change the narrative to make him the victim again.
Yeah, and not just that, but it's how can I get my name in the paper again? Because notice how, after that interview, who was it? They had whatever the her name is, the person that does interviews and thinks she's still famous.
Oprah.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, she thinks she's still important. But yeah, when she did the interview with Harry and Meghan did not shut up for weeks after it, because she was like, I want my name at center of attention, me. And Harry was quite quiet through it. I think Harry genuinely wanted to leave the royal family and wanted peace and quiet. Meghan doesn't want peace and quiet. She wants to be the centre of attention 24/7. And if that isn't the case, that is how it looks. And it is not a good look. You know? Yeah. So, I don't know.
Stardom they crave.
Yeah, exactly. She's used to having all the attention on her being an actress. And again, I'm sure there was information that we don't know. Because why would we? They have their own personal life. But it's just shocking to me that the entitlement that some people still show, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's like entitlement hidden through like subtext of what he's trying to do.
Absolutely.
But yeah, linking back to the Prince Andrew thing, that I should have mentioned this before, but Ghislaine Maxwell, apparently 2 of the jurors on her trial were victims of sexual abuse themselves.
Oh dear.
And they must have, at least one of them must have lied on their application form for the juror service. So like, I don't know, why is this a thing? Like, how is this allowed? So there is like a speculation that maybe there's going to be a retrial and stuff like that. But I've not heard much on any updates on that. So.
I don't know if there'd be a retrial. They might switch the juror out, or the jurors. Well, 2 of them have had experience with sexual assault, and they've somehow managed to get on the case.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be.
And there's literally a question on before you like go on the stands, like, have you been a victim of this? And they must have answered no.
Yeah.
But then it turns out afterwards, after the like sentencing has already been done, that they have. So maybe they're biased, and maybe the whole thing needs to be redone.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer says. It's like, well, there has to be a retrial now. That's a bias right there. Yeah, but it's only 2 of them.
Or unless some kind of dark underhand tactics have come into place, and they've paid these jurors a lot of money to say that they have been abused, so that they get a retrial. I don't know. I don't know if they'd get away with that in today's age. But then in this
again,
day and age.
Saying that, I mean, crazier things have happened. So I mean,
look what they got away with in the past.
I know, but yeah, no, that should never have ever have happened. I'm pretty sure that you have to be rigorously screened before you even get. Because I know in America they have mandatory jury duty, but it's like you can't be a part of a trial if you've had any experience in whatever the trial is going on for. Again,
you can't have any bias or anything.
Yeah, you have to be completely unbiased when you go in. So, and that's hard to do when it's such a publicized case. So, I imagine maybe I wouldn't believe someone was paid off, but what I would believe is maybe because so many people have heard about it, they kind of went, just don't mention the fact that you were involved in that. Maybe then I could see that maybe being used, but I don't know. That's crazy though. That's nuts. That shouldn't happen ever.
I know. Weird ass stuff.
Weird ass stuff.
But yes, I do have one more news thing. If
of course, go for
it. So it would be bad of me not to mention this because it gets drowned out in all of the stupid entitled. But
absolutely,
Aisling Murphy was killed. Another case of a woman alone jogging during the day. She was killed by, I don't know, I think it was a man. They haven't found the right suspect yet, I don't think.
Yeah, they're still searching.
But it just kind of goes to show that this is still a problem. I think it's in Ireland, a case in Ireland. And she was a teacher, 27 or something.
This was the teacher one, right?
Right. So just goes to show nowhere is safe, and it's kind of brought up this whole thing of women are never safe, and men are the ones to kill them.
I think it saddens me a lot because I truly am someone that believes equal rights it should be just a natural human thing. Male and female, they, them, doesn't matter who you are equal to everyone else. But there clearly is this link, and I absolutely applaud women that come forward and go, no, just because I'm a woman, I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm independent. Yet, women are still killed and murdered for nothing other than a man's gratification, which is... And I know I'm assuming that the suspect is a man. That's never a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But I could probably 99% sure I'm sure it's a man.
Yeah.
I don't even need to fucking question it. Like, it's sad that that's the case. Like, we don't even have to have a discussion about it. It's just, it's probably a bloke.
Yeah.
And that's so broken.
I know. It's like our views and morals are like, they can preach that all men are, these predators and stuff, but like we're like, it's like we're already converted. We're not, 99% of us are not predators.
Yeah, no, it's
but so it's bringing up this whole debate whether we should teach men in particular. I don't know. I just have like an uneasy feeling about it all. Like,
it's very.
I've seen a lot of men come out and say, "Oh, I'm ashamed of my gender." Well, it's like no.
it's a touchy subject as well, right? Because
I know, you don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's again, we want to be respectful as possible, but at the same time we want to be authentic and we want to be ourselves and we want to say what we want to say, and that's our opinions. And my opinion is, no, women shouldn't be scared to go outside on their own. No, men shouldn't immediately be suspected to be the killer. But we live in a world that, unfortunately, statistics show that is the case.
Yeah.
And do I agree with it? No, I don't. Of course I don't. I think anyone should be able to go outside. I think, and this is going to sound ridiculous when I say it, but it makes sense in the context. Of course, I'm not saying that I approve of killers or murderers, but anyone should be able to be a killer and a murderer, not just immediately assuming one side or the other.
Yeah.
I know how silly that sounds, but in context of what we're talking about. So it's crazy to me that, you know, we can take just just a guess at, yeah, it's probably a bloke, and we're most likely going to be right.
Yeah.
But
it's like,
yeah, I don't know.
No matter how much preaching and teaching you're trying to do, there's always going to be these oddballs which aren't going to listen to any of that.
Yeah.
And
there's always going to be those crazy assholes that just...
It's almost like a preconceived notion that there will be things like this that happen.
Yeah, I mean, you know, most of our friends are of the opposite gender, I would say. And, you know, I talk to them... well, I know we both talk to our friends very frequently and we hang out with them and stuff. And, you know, it's such a hard subject. Because
people are saying, they say it's the responsibility of men to teach other men. Because everyone's got a friend that's apparently.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest, I have humour that is sometimes crossing that line, and I have been called out on it before. I'm not going to sit here and lie. I've been called out on it, and someone's gone, that's a bit far, James. So I'm like, oh, okay, and I learn and I reel it back in. But that isn't other people's job. Like, you have to... There's a moral right or wrong compass, right? And that everyone's humour is different, like all this stuff and everything, but... There is a defined line between being a killer and sometimes saying a joke that doesn't land. You know what I mean? Like, no one is perfect. Everyone has done, said, acted in a stupid way before, and it probably looks bad on them. If that's the only thing you knew about that person, you'd probably think they were scum. There is more to people than just that, and I think this notion of that... No, when I say that, no, men are not all assholes, I'm not immediately saying all women are weak. I'm not. I'm saying that most women, and again, same for men, most men are normal human beings that can live their lives, just get on with their lives, and don't have an agenda in that sense. But it's just there. There's always going to be these scumbag people. And I'm not going to say men, because sometimes women kill as well. And they're just psychotic that live among us, regardless of gender. Like, and this might sound ridiculous for me to say, but there have been times when I've gone out for a late night walk or something, and I've feared for my life when I'm walking past someone, whether it's a girl or a boy. Doesn't matter. I find like some people just look dodgy. And I, you know, as a bloke, and I, you know, you've met me in person. I'm stocky, but you know, I'm not immediate. I'm scared to walk past people, whether it's a man or a woman. And when I come out and say that, when I've talked to people about that, they're like, "What? You're scared to walk past a woman?" And it's immediately taken the piss out of. And it's, I don't know. It's crazy to me that we still live in this world that people are like, "Oh, well, you can't speak your mind because it doesn't meet the requirements for life."
Yeah, it's kind of weird how we're kind of immediately assumed guilty. For just walking down a street. Because I remember, I think I've told this on the podcast before, but I was like walking along the street and you just happen to be walking behind a woman, and it's a busy street, loads of people going past, and then you can see her like. No, absolutely. You followed me around two corners now. How dare you? And it's like, oh. And then you like have to cross the road because you don't want other people to feel uncomfortable. It's like, but then you feel this sense of guilt.
Right, my camera's just like, mate, I'm out of this conversation. No, I completely understand. But then when you cross the road, you look even more guilty.
I know, like you were going to do something.
You can't win. And I won't just say this happens to men. I am sure there are plenty of women that have experienced that exact same thing with a bloke.
Yeah.
But this is the thing: the majority of the time, People are criminalized before they've even done anything. And the same goes for this this absolutely abhorrent and disgusting murder that has taken place. But most people, I'm sure, and I am guaranteed that 99% of people in media went, "Oh, it's a bloke that's done that."
Yeah.
And that's just, it's just, and do you know what? They could be true. It could be true. It could be false. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with it. You just don't, until you get answers, you don't know. But people are very quick to jump on what they think, and then they expect other people not to speak up about it.
Yeah.
And let me reiterate this, because I know there's going to be someone that watches this and is going to message me and be like, "Oh, how could you say such a thing?" Let me make this clear. I am not saying that women should go outside and have to be scared every time they go out. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that the same courtesy should be admitted to the male gender as well. It shouldn't just be assumed. It shouldn't have to be like this. This is just the world, unfortunately, we live in, because women are deemed weaker than men, which is not true at all. Not even close. I have met women that are 1,000 times stronger than men. 1,000 times. And that is not me just kissing their ass to try and look good. That is just the truth. But people don't talk about that. And then when you do talk about it, "Oh, you just do it to get points." No, I don't. I just tell it how it is. Have you not watched the other podcasts?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Okay. It would be helpful for one day if we could get a woman on here to actually tell us their views.
Wouldn't that be the day? No, I've got a few.
We're just two blokes, and
I've got,
like, maybe if we were female, we would have a different view on this, so we don't know.
Guarantee, and that's the thing. We can only talk to people and hear their stories.
We only know our experiences.
Yeah, and our own experiences as well. And that's just the saddest part about it. We can't talk about it from another perspective because we'd be lying.
Yeah.
So
but deepest condolences to her family
absolutely,
and all of her friends and stuff. It's a terrible, terrible state of affairs, but
it's disgusting that this is a thing that happens. But hopefully the scumbag will be caught, whoever they are. And they will suffer all of the consequences.
Yes. Brought to account in 2022.
2022. Not 21, not 23. We're not there yet, but 22. 2020 style. But yeah. Right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
That's a tense subject. Let's move on to something a bit lighter. Shall we go to gaming?
Yeah.
Let's go to the gaming stuff. Before we get on to the big news of the gaming scene for this week, what games have you been playing, good sir? Have you been playing anything good?
I've been playing, I mentioned it on the last one, but I've since completed it, Final Fantasy 15. I found it it's an enjoyable romp. It felt very Western for like an Eastern-inspired Japanese game.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I liked it a lot. And it's very good looking. Nice to play on the PS5 with all the features and that go along with that. And the story was pretty good, and I chuckled a few times at the story. It was very long though. It did kind of drag on a little bit.
Yeah, those games have a habit.
I was kind of found myself like skipping through a bit of it because I was a bit. It does have that kind of anime style of speaking to each other and stuff. And it's like it kind of grinds my gears a little bit when it's constant. But yeah, I think they did the best with what they had. The voice actors were all good.
Yeah,
wasn't a massive fan of Aerith, which might be a bit controversial.
Yeah.
A lot of people love her.
Hey man, you do.
Just kind of felt like hi. But yeah, it's a good game. I'm glad I played it. I don't think I'll be platinum it though.
Yeah.
Because you need to finish it on hard, and I played it on easy, and it's long enough for me.
So I don't fancy going through it again.
Yes, I
alright,
don't fancy it hard.
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 I don't fancy that. Yeah, no, that's fair.
But yeah, why don't you let us know what you've been playing, good sir? Because I can't think of anything else right now.
Well, I've got two that are very, very similar, and both suffer with the same issues. So they're two beat 'em up games, or fighter games, I guess you would call them. Is Injustice 1? So I believe it's like, what's it called? Injustice something. Injustice 1.
God Among Us. I don't know.
Oh, God Among Us, yeah, something like that. And I also played through the anime game My Hero Academia, or at least half of it before I got bored and then put it down.
Yeah.
So both games, fighters, kind of. I enjoyed Injustice a lot more. My Hero Academia was kind of dull and stupid. But I love the anime, just to point that out. I do love the anime, but the game is not worth it. And then Injustice 1 was kind of the same issue. I like fighter games when there's more to them. Those games are so bare bones minimum that it's like, what was the point in even making this a game? You've done this with anything and got the same thing. But I know Injustice 2 is meant to be much better because you have like a level system that's makes more sense and has more to it. So, but yeah. Interesting games. Had fun with both to an extent, and then got bored.
Yeah, I was never really massively into the fighting games. I think I played like the old Tekkens and stuff like the Soul Calibur.
See, I liked Soul Calibur back in the day. I enjoyed that. That was a good game.
I think I played it on like PS2, was it, or something like that. But they were all right because kind of just playing it with your family. But I was never really into it.
Yeah, I think the only fighter I ever got into was Mortal Kombat, and that was just because of the famous, finish him kind of.
Yeah.
That went on for a while. So yeah.
Schwarzenegger,
yeah. Just I again, not terrible games, not by any stretch of the imagination, but just kind of very bare bones for a fighter. Normally you have like a bunch of unlockables and things to at least do something with, but once you finish like Injustice, the story is kind of not really a lot there.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, Injustice 2 is better, much better. So maybe I'll play that, see if that's better.
Yeah.
Maybe they did the Joker a lot better.
Yeah. I've been playing for a lot of, not a lot of, but some of Dirt 5. Pretty much enjoying that. It's giving me good Motorstorm vibes. I am starting to get a bit grated with the triggers, like the adaptive triggers. Yeah. I feel like I'm fighting the controller a little bit now. Like, okay, it was interesting at first, but maybe I'll switch. Click that switch. I also worried about the controller, seeing what's happened in the past, and I'm like, oh, you better not break it.
How many times you want to fix it?
So yeah, but I am enjoying it. It's a good. I did play. It reminds me of Wreckfest as well. I did play a bit of Wreckfest. This is more kind of off-roady, I suppose. And I think I had a problem with Wreckfest where I accidentally imported my PS4 save, even though I had done more on the PS5 version. It just like kind of over saved it on. I was like, oh, this, and deleted that.
God, that's the worst.
I know.
That is genuinely the worst.
Yeah. It's a similar sort of thing where as you do more races, you will get more stars to unlock the lower ones, and but it's as a little kind of casual racing game, I enjoy it, and it's one of the plus games this month. So I recommend it to anyone who's wanting that little Motorstorm racy itch.
Nice little time waster, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, for us,
as all games are.
Yeah, true. True that. Some some games have a story to tell. Some others just pump hours into me.
Yeah.
Which sounds a lot dirtier than it's meant to.
You can pump hours into me.
But moving on.
Swiftly on.
So I finally, to Sean and Robin's happiness, played First Class. I haven't played a lot of it, admittedly, and I sucked, but every time we played it. But and it's all right. It's all right. Like I can't really complain about it. It's not. I kept dishing out that it was an Among Us clone and that it was, and yes, it has the similar gameplay style to Among Us. So there's, two hidden amongst a group and stuff. But no, it's genuinely a fun game with friends.
Yeah, it just needs everyone's on mics and people to not be toxic and trolley.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about. We didn't in the 3. I think I played 3 games, which is not a lot. Admittedly, I do intend to play some more of it because it was genuinely very fun. And I had a good time with it.
Once you like kind of get a taste for it, then you're like, oh, that's actually quite good, and you do have to get into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree with you 100%. I think there was only one person that we really encountered that was a bit of a smart ass.
Oh, a kid.
But then that's kids' fear.
It's a kid, yeah.
I think they know everything.
I did a rare thing the other day and actually played it on my own for a couple of games. And
brave,
I actually had a fairly positive experience for like 2 of the games. One of them was a bit like, but you just got to learn to just like not kind of answer. I don't know. control
retaliate.
yourself, really.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to talk, the mic isn't always on, which is,
Yeah.
I suppose, one of the reasons why it is a push to talk kind of thing, because you can't just it's a bit of a barrier between you and other kind of trolls, if there are any. So you can just choose not to communicate with them if it's that bad. But yeah, I've had minimal experiences with some trolls on there, but 99% of people are fine and into the game, and you get some characters. So we always go on about this Janet the Planet, who was basically imitating an android in real life. Like, hello.
It is. There's an interesting cast of people that you will come across, and I think it's definitely a side of gaming that has kind of died out. I think very slowly over time. So it's nice. It's nice to see games trying to bring that kind of community.
People coming together and speaking to each other. It can only really be. Well, it's kind of a good and bad thing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's good and bad to it, but hopefully more good will come from it. Which, at least from the experiences I've heard of yourself and Robin, and from my own, it has been more positive than negative. Granted, I've not got a lot to go off, but still, it's something.
Yeah, it's another option.
Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. Right. So, what have we got next?
Right. Big gaming news. How we go?
I've got a few more, but yeah, let's take a break. No. Let's take a break from talking about the games we played, and let's talk about this huge acquisition that has taken place. It's still not fully through. It won't be completed until 2023 in June, I believe. That is the fiscal end of the year or something for Microsoft. But yes, Activision Blizzard has been bought by Microsoft. So now Microsoft own Call of Duty, Overwatch, StarCraft, just all they own one of PlayStation's mascots, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
How the this is insane.
Was it like 69 billion or something they paid for it?
68.7 billion, the biggest acquisition to ever happen in gaming.
It has shaken the stock market.
so big, in fact, that it's bigger than Nintendo. Nintendo's worth is 61 billion. And Microsoft just paid that. And then some. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. I don't know.
I know. It's a kind of quite a big blow for competitors, including Sony. Because what happens in the future if these games end up being exclusives and big franchises end up going to Xbox, and there's people out there. I mean, get CODers games that just sell all the time, like without fail. It doesn't matter if it's like a piece of turd wrapped in a ribbon and it's called COD. People will buy it.
Yeah, Vanguard. People bought that.
Yeah.
So the first time I didn't.
I'm kind of so glad that I'm over kind of COD at this stage.
Same. But no, I mean,
I know I can see why it's a big deal.
No, crazy. Because I mean, the thing is, I don't see them making Call of Duties officially exclusive. I just can't see that happening. They sell best on Sony. They sell the most copies on PlayStation.
Yeah.
And the sheer amount of money that they would lose out on probably.
Yeah.
But they are going to be adding. As of next year anyway, when obviously the deal finally goes through, all the backlog for Activision Blizzard, but as much as they can get will go on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Which I think is a huge incentive for people just to be like, oh, I'm buying Game Pass. PlayStation, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? Look at that. You've got Bethesda there. You've now got Activision, like all their subsidiaries. Like, that is insane. How crazy that is. And I think it's just irony, really, like when you look at the entire system and you go, wow, PlayStation's mascot no longer belongs to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like, Sony just lost Crash, literally.
Definitely a huge flex from Microsoft.
Was Microsoft just going, you?
Yeah. What does this mean for Sony, though?
I don't know. I honestly, truly believe that Sony will be fine. I mean,
it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, Activision have a lot of issues right now. Again, I think we've touched on this before, but of course, all the issues going on with Activision, that is still a thing that is happening. And I feel, you have to think about I think Phil Spencer, Microsoft's obviously gaming head, the CEO of like gaming for Xbox and stuff. He made a comment on obviously everything going on with Activision when everything came out and said it was deeply disturbing and troubling. And obviously now, at the time, this deal was going through. So you have to think how terrified they were when all this was coming out and they were like, oh, Christ.
Yeah.
I think it's fairly obvious that Bobby Kotick, CEO of Activision, will be gone when it goes
still
over.
there though now.
For now, I think they have confirmed that he'll be there until this deal is done, and then Bobby Kotick actually got asked what his position was going to be after the deal goes through, and he said his door will always be open, which sounds like to me they've already asked me to leave. But I'm sure he'll get a lovely cozy parachute of
Cash.
he's getting 250 million minimum.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
It's disgusting, but hopefully him gone and Microsoft. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't heard any horror stories about Microsoft's workforce and workplace. It's the one place I haven't heard anything. Sony have had issues, Nintendo
They
have
just
had
hide
issues.
it very well. They've got enough cash.
Maybe that is the case. But I mean, you look at everything they've been doing, and it's just crazy. Like Bethesda, now this.
Yeah.
And they've still got more deals going on behind the scenes. Imagine if they get Ubisoft.
Yeah.
At that point, does it become a monopoly, though? Do the board then get involved and say, nope, can't do that because that will make it a monopoly. It's an uneven playing field. Because that was the concern they had with this purchase. I mean, I'm not big into stocks and behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm not very educated on that stuff. So I watched a couple of videos on it because it did interest me. I do love gaming and very passionate about it. And to see something like this, something so huge, it is going to shake up the market a lot, and it is going to change the way that games are released and stuff, especially for someone like myself who is a PlayStation fanboy. But it's exciting as well because Microsoft taking over Activision might improve Activision. The games they pump out won't be yearly releases anymore that are garbage. They'll be genuinely cared for, worked on, projects that'll come out working brilliantly. Hopefully. So, but there have, I know with this, sorry to just throw this out there have been talks of Game Pass possibly coming to Nintendo and Sony and PlayStation. Can you imagine if that happens? That's it. At that point, PlayStation may as well go,
PlayStation is just a machine to
we'll just
carry.
we'll just bring Microsoft with us. It's fine, whatever.
I don't know. It's like competition. Maybe Sony has something up their sleeve. They must have known about this for a while.
I don't know. I mean, again, like I say,
you can own all the IPs in the world and all the companies. If you don't make the good games, though,
exactly.
What is the point?
And
COD is great and all, but I think it's way past its heyday.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well, Microsoft have a lot of money, but this money got saved up after the botched Xbox One thing. When the Xbox One came out and PS4 came out, there's a reason PS4 did better. The Xbox One was completely flopped, and then Phil Spencer took over, and he has done a fantastic job just elevating Xbox to beyond unrecognizable factories success. I mean, Game Pass in itself is a banging deal. 50 quid for a year and you get over 100 games and every day one exclusive. Like, that's unheard of. And now you get all of EA's games because they've got a deal with EA Play. You get all of Bethesda stuff, Activision and all their stuff is now coming over, which is well over 100 games. I mean, that's over 200 games now. Like, it's crazy. But they are taking a risk. This is the thing that people keep forgetting is I don't think they're probably making a butt ton of money. I think it's something like they've got 25 million subscribers now to Game Pass, which is something equivalent to about 375 million a month. When you're making that kind of money, you have that, like, that's billions a year. You're set. So, I mean, it's crazy how when they bought Bethesda, I can't remember when did they buy Bethesda? Was that like 2 years ago, something like that? When they bought them, people were talking about, they could just buy Activision for that, like 7 times. Like, if they did that, they could do it 7 times over. That's like the price of Activision. And now here we are talking about one of the biggest companies in publishing history for games has just been snatched up. Although, again, this is all still to be confirmed. Like, even though the deal has been confirmed, it still has to go through all the processes and checks and has to be approved that it's not a monopoly now, so they can have the purchase, essentially. Because, it's unlikely to happen, but I can't remember what the name of the board is that checks this stuff, but they can still turn around and say, no, that purchase isn't legal because you become a monopoly. And at that point, there's no point in your competition, so no, you can't have that. But I mean, it just shows that Microsoft aren't scared to throw down huge sums.
Yeah, it's just kind of a huge investment for the future for them.
It is, isn't it? Because I don't think Game Pass, like, if they're making 375 million estimated a month on Game Pass, right, it's going to take them a long time to get that near, 70 million back.
Yeah.
70 billion, sorry, back. So it's a huge investment, but an investment, I don't think it's stupid. I think it's quite clever,
It's just like a long-term thing, the long game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've already confirmed that Bethesda's games will no longer be coming to both platforms anymore. It's just Xbox and PC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to be like...
There's been a statement like, we don't want to rip communities away from PlayStation, but that's what they're saying now. But when the deal's actually fully gone through,
it's a company. They want to make money, and at the end of the day, they're going to make a ton of money from this deal. Honest to God, like the amount of games, just IPs alone. Forget the number of games. The IPs alone, they are like Hearthstone, which is one of the most popular card-based
World
games.
of Warcraft and stuff like
World of Warcraft, Overwatch, like these games are huge. And the IPs are even bigger. The sheer amount of money they're going to make is undeniably huge. And it's definitely going to cause issues, I think, for Sony and Nintendo. But not for a while, because, again, it's not gone through yet. It's next year that happens.
Yes, PlayStation are going to have to go fall back on the old Resistance and Killzone.
I am curious, though, to see what Sony and Nintendo's reactions are going to be. As someone who is primarily a PlayStation player like yourself, I am curious to see, like, kind of, because Sony are very choosy about this, the companies they've bought, haven't they, and they've kind of made their own. But I mean, you look at the games they produce; they are flawless. They are brilliant.
Track record of good quality games, whereas
goes to Tsushima,
these big ones churning out one a year.
Yeah, it's quality.
It's kind of like bulldozing the way.
Yeah. I don't know, but I would like. I don't know if I'd like to see this. Honestly, I get very nervous when I see stuff like this, but I get very excited too because I think it will open up a lot better doors for Activision now, especially with Microsoft in charge of them. Phil Spencer did confirm as well. He was like, "No, they have to answer to me now." So if they want to publish a game, it goes through me first, and he's been doing a good job at not producing crap. So.
Yeah.
But, I'm interested to see how Sony react to this. Because, obviously, Call of Duty has been the Sony exclusivity deals that they've had for a while. That's going to be gone.
They're going to have to pull something out the bag. So
yeah,
But there have been rumours, a while about something similar to Game Pass coming on PlayStation.
Yeah, and I think once that happens, maybe that's when they'll start really... I mean, if it's successful as well, and they can make that kind of money... that Microsoft's making, they can be like, right, well, now we can start looking into buying bigger stuff if we want to. But I don't think they ever will. I think Sony is too conservative for it. They don't want to. The one thing you see in all their deals is it's cheap. They don't like forking out huge amounts of money because they don't have that. Microsoft have the advantage of being PC and console.
Microsoft's like the soldier at the front line, kind of shooting everyone down, while Sony's at the back with a sniper.
They're Captain America,
waiting.
And Sony Sniper Elite.
Sits
at the back, just
carefully choosing the targets, and whereas Microsoft shooting everyone in sight.
Yeah,
it's kind of a bad analogy, but
I get what you mean though, and I think that is a good analogy actually, because I mean you've got the tank at the front, and then you've got Sony who are much more choosy about what they do. Which approach is better? I don't know, but I'll be honest. The Game Pass has never looked more appealing in my life. And I'm someone that has had the Game Pass before, and I have to admit, when I had it, it was good. It was a good deal. But we don't know what PlayStation are going to pull out for their one, so hopefully they'll have something very good.
We'll see. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the future. The game is definitely on.
It's definitely, yeah. They need to. They really need to start pushing something because, they're going to get left behind otherwise.
Nice,
very quickly.
Last of Us reference there.
Yeah. There you go. They're going to get left behind.
There'll be a naughty dog if
be a naughty dog if they don't catch up. But yeah, I think they'll be all right, personally. But
yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, of course not.
It's got the love and trust of the people.
It does indeed. Right then, shall we get on to the last few games that we've been playing recently?
Yes, the ground is yours because I do not have any.
So I was going to say, I did also get asked by Robin to talk about this, but Fortnite, obviously they've had the update now for tornadoes, and you've got those big dinosaur things walking around. So I was asked, could we talk about the update and what we think about it, and how Fortnite is looking at this current time? To which I responded to it, it's like a
It's
podcast
Fortnite.
thing now. It's a podcast thing now. We always bring up Fortnite, even if for a second, it always comes up. So, but yeah, what's kind of your thoughts on the update recently and stuff they've added?
I haven't really played since the most recent one with the big guys and Tilted Towers back. But yeah, I mean, it's good that they're continually adding more content to play throughout the season. Granted, I'm almost all the way through the Battle Pass thing now.
Yeah.
So I just need the Rock to release to complete my experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that the kind of storytelling techniques they use, right? Rather than just giving you a cutscene, they'll just change the map. And stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I do like that about the game.
Yeah.
But yeah. Good.
It's nice. I'll be honest. It's nice to see Tilted Towers back. I have missed Tilted Towers.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that back. And
I
the
don't think I ever
dinosaurs.
played on Chapter 1 map.
The dinosaurs are very cute, and you can ride on them, and they like send you flying into the air, and it is fun. And then obviously the tornadoes. I just love the tornadoes. The first thing I did was drive a car straight into it.
Yeah.
With Robin in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just like, yep.
She's still in there now, some say.
Some say.
Some say that Robin's still flying around in Fortnite in a tornado.
Stuck in the loop.
She's stuck in a loop and doesn't play anything anymore other than Fortnite in first class.
Sorry. But yeah, no, it is fun.
That's so meta.
I must admit though, if I do have one gripe with Fortnite, there's not enough reason for me to play it for a long period of time every day. And there used to be. They used to be. But something has changed. My guess is that it's the XP that they give now. It's much less. So the only way to really play it daily and actually get something from it is by doing the death runs. Which, all right, they're okay. But I mean, I finished that death run now twice, and I'm like, I don't really want to do it again. I have other games I'd rather play, but I do want to get the pass done. I'm at like 115. So
it's like either do that or wait weekly for the quests things that you get.
Or doing the dailies will get you like I think a level.
Yeah,
you'll get one level for doing the dailies, but
it's like Fortnite is definitely just like a box of chocolates. Like you eat like one or two and then you get a bit sick of them.
Yeah, it's
for the day.
Absolutely, it is a good game and it is fun, but there are. I don't know. There's still improvements to be made, but again, they've done a fantastic job of improving on it so far. So, I imagine they've got something up their sleeve.
Have my money.
Yeah, shut up and take my money. Just do the Fry impression from Futurama.
Apparently, Green Goblin's coming to Fortnite. So
yeah, I did.
Maybe coming out there.
Yeah, I'm quite excited. There are a lot of rumors coming around for what they've got planned. Obviously, you know, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doesn't just pop in and say hello to a franchise. You know, he sticks around for some time. So I feel like he's going to be an integral part to Chapter 3. So I'm sure they've got some cool lined up, but it's just right now. Once I think you get to like rank 100, so you've done like the main bulk of the pass.
Yeah, motivation goes down a little bit.
It's kind of progress is so slow that it's kind of hard to get yourself to do it and to play it, especially when you're like us, hardworking men that have to do.
Yeah, you get to 200 and it's like, what do we do now? Now we can finally play the game.
Yeah. Although to be fair, I'm struggling to get to 200. I haven't had this issue before, but I am genuinely struggling. I just look at it.
Still got ages, so we'll see.
Yeah. I'll get there, but it's just like how quickly. Last time I think we finished the pass like 2.5 months before the end of it, and we were like,
it's a long way.
all right, what do we do now? And now it's like nearly the end of, well, I'd say nearly the end of January. We've still got plenty of time, but I think it's 5th of March or something. So
Yeah,
still over a month. So.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
You still Fortnite.
But yeah, and the last thing is today I finished Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
Finished it on stream. We finished the game, and yeah, fantastic, brilliant game, brilliant story, brilliant writing. There are a few things in there that clearly were thrown in for padding, and that annoys me because it's such a great story, and 95% of the time you feel like you're progressing, like you're going somewhere, but there are some moments where you're like, what? Why is this here? Why have you put the one that I could frequently point out to you is there was this section with like a tunnel and there's like wind. You know those sections where you have to stop and then you can carry on. Like someone's blowing against you, but you got to go behind cover. It's like that, and it's a completely pointless section. It doesn't add anything. It just
kind of
makes
tried and tested game mechanics.
Yeah, it's like an artificial extension to the level that literally did nothing for the level. It was just thrown there just to be like, here's some more cheesy dialogue with the characters. It's like, yeah, but that's fine. But you don't need to hold me up for it.
Yeah, so maybe shave a few hours off it or something. Or
I mean, if you took out all the unnecessary crap, you'd probably shave off about an hour and a half. But it wouldn't feel like that. You know, again, you've still got a 20-hour story that is fantastic. If you're taking your time anyway, it's going to be 20 hours. You could probably rush through it, but I wouldn't advise doing that. You'd miss a lot of really good stuff. And
it's definitely one to kind of enjoy, take your time with, not just beast it.
The boss battles are fantastic. There is a new game plus mode, which I wasn't expecting, if I'm being honest, because I thought, you know, they will need to get all the collectibles and stuff, so it's like they'll probably restart you and you'll have to do everything. Or you could just chapter select and go to each chapter and find everything. So they've done a great job with it, and hopefully, please Square Enix, stick to that formula. Never do a Marvel Avengers again. Just never go near live service ever again. Just do that and you will make so much money. You have Final Fantasy and now Marvel. You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Also, soundtrack. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I will not mute the audio for it.
No matter what.
No matter what. I don't
It's
care.
an integral part.
It is, yeah. The only reason I'll do that is if they block it when I start uploading it to YouTube. That it's blocked in this country now for copyright. Like assholes. But yeah, so great game, fantastic. I would highly recommend playing it. If you were disappointed by Avengers, you'll definitely love Guardians. So 10 out of 10 stamp of approval from me.
Yeah, nice.
I
need to get around to playing that one.
It is very, very good. Very good.
On air.
I'm not, but here we are.
He's on gas and air. Alright, shall we move on to films and TV?
Let's do it. Films and TV. What have you been watching, good sir?
Well, actually, I'll get the big one out of the way first, I suppose.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Talk about Scream. How was
I'll
it
try
for
to
you?
be as quickly as brief as possible on this one.
No. Take
But
your time.
It's
Detail.
been 10 years since the previous Scream came out, so I've been eagerly anticipating this one. So it's just called Scream, not Scream 5.
Which is good. I like that.
The whole like it's not parody, but you know, the satire of it is it's trying to like talk about requels, they call them. Remake sequels, a bit like Halloween and stuff, where it's kind of a reboot of the franchise, but it isn't, because it's kind of following on from the previous story. So it's quite good, but I would definitely say it's Scream 5.
Yeah. But
so it's the first one that's directed by not Wes Craven, so it's
I was gonna say
Matt Bettinell-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, I think. Goddamn hard to pronounce names.
because Wes Craven sadly passed away, hasn't he? So this is the first time he's not been involved in. Also, made my favourite killer, Freddy.
Oh yeah.
You know, both our favourite killers. But yeah, it's the first time he's not involved in a Scream film, isn't it? So
yeah. So as anticipated, eagerly awaiting this one. A bit nervous, a bit anxious, but you can tell the directors really, really were fans of the films, and they did literally, this whole thing is like a love letter to the Scream universe. I'll go through like the good points I got, which I mentioned on the directors. It is almost like a tribute to Scream fans. It's a respectful film. It doesn't wipe the floor with the original cast and the ideas. It definitely sticks to the tried and tested formula of Scream. Obviously, you get the legacy characters back. I'll try to. Oh well, I won't try. I will be as spoiler free as possible. You get Gail, Dewey, and Sid back, and a few others. So it's nice to see them. It's like they never left. Scream is such a unique franchise where they are so integral to it that you just can't have a Scream film without them. But going forward, we'll see how that maybe whatever goes. Now there is I know we mentioned one time about YouTubers in films and stuff like that, but this one does have one in it, but I think it's acceptable. I really want to tell you what it is, but I don't know if it's a spoiler. It's not.
Well, I'll tell you what. Don't say it yet, but once you've got all the non-spoiler stuff out of the way, we'll talk about it then, so I can put a warning on the screen.
Oh, okay.
We'll go for that.
But yeah, there's a funny YouTube reference. There's funny references. It is so self-aware, meta, Scream. That is what it is.
I do love Scream for that.
Obviously, all the references are updated. What's your favourite scary movie? The Babadook.
Of course, that would get him in.
It's transcended horror. But yeah, Ghostface, Roger Daxon's voice, you get a hell of a lot more of that, which is really cool to see. And he's not always, this isn't really a spoiler, but he's not always doing the Ghostface. Yeah. It's more like the first film, like the opening scene is just like almost a rehash of the very original Scream.
Like a nod to it.
Yeah, well, it's almost like more of just like a homage. It's almost scene for scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very well done. I think people who like the originals will like that. I definitely recommend that you do watch the previous one before you watch this one.
Yeah, because obviously they've got characters in this one that are from the original, so it is like a carry. From what I've seen and heard, it's a carry on from the original plots, but it's also trying to introduce new characters to continue a new franchise, essentially.
Yeah. So obviously there's every corner you turn, there's like a reference to a kill from a previous movie or a different franchise or a meta explanation of why things are happening or the rules of horror films and things like that. So yeah, you definitely get your dose of that. It's a worthy successor to Scream, and it's a good requel, I would say. Although there are some niggling little issues I may have with it,
Ooh,
so
okay.
I can't fully, go into it, kissing its
Of course.
ass.
Yes, of course.
Because it has been so long.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite franchises, but sometimes I think it may be overly. It kind of whacks you over the head with the self-awareness and meta.
Yeah.
Sometimes they really don't hold back on it. It's like, oh yeah, you got that joke. You shouldn't be doing this. They're kind of making the jokes as they're doing the cliches and tropes that they're trying to joke around.
Yeah.
So perhaps I think they got so focused on making it meta and self-aware that they may have lacked a bit of the fun of the original. I would say this one isn't as funny as the other ones. Not that they're supposed to be comedy movies or anything, but they've always had that kind of satirical edge to the horror of it.
Yeah, of course.
I also wouldn't say it was that scary, but I think people who don't watch horror films will find it scary, so it's a kind of a moot point for me to say that.
I think it's like subjective. Like there's certain things that are subjective, but there are certain things to filmmaking that clearly are, like, as you say, constantly whacking someone over the head.
Yeah.
Like this. Do you know this thing's happening? Well, here it is. Dunk.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I can imagine that's annoying.
Some of the new cast, I enjoyed their performances. They're all quite clearly very talented, but the kind of new protagonist that we get, Samantha is the character's name. I am not overly fond of her. I think the acting was like a tiny bit wooden and a bit forced at points.
Yeah.
If she's supposed to be the new Sydney, she's just kind of not Sydney.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Which is the problem. Yeah, I mean, how can you compete with that? But yeah. I think if they'd have swapped some of them around, because there's one actress in it, Jenny Ortega, I think the actress's name is. She's really, really good in it. She's definitely one of the best actresses of her generation. They're very young, but I feel like she would have been the better kind of Sydney replacement, or whatever.
Yeah.
One final thing, which is not so good, is the score. Now, I've always had this strong connection with the Scream and its score. It's composed by Marco Beltrami, who did the first 4, but this one's done by Brian Tyler, who isn't a horror composer. He's more of like an action film composer. So it does kind of have that kind of generic blandness about it, whereas
yeah,
Marco would. I mean, this is normal cinema goers wouldn't give a shit about this stuff, but
as someone, but this is the thing. As someone that's passionate about the series and that's passionate about Scream, you know, it's nice to hear your interpretation of it, because you are I can announce to this. He is a die-hard fan of Scream.
I know.
So every time we play Dead by Daylight, if it's a Scream, he goes up to them and tries to be friends with them. We're like, Sean, he's trying to kill us. And he's like, no, he's my friend.
I will be his friend.
But yeah, no, I get you.
So yeah, that was a bit of a letdown, but it's very kind of minimal kind of points, I suppose. But overall, definitely worthy sequel, prequel to the franchise. Kind of looking forward to where they go from here, and the story points, because it's a nice story. There's emotional, there's humor, there's horror. There's more gore than ever before. So gore fans will be happy about that.
Because Scream is known for being quite bloody, but from what I've heard, this kind of takes it to just under Saw levels.
Yeah, I mean, all you really get with Scream is the stabbing, basically. But this one does it's still the stabbing, but in different ways, and maybe close-ups where you wouldn't have seen before.
Makes you scream.
It does, yeah. It's very intense and dark in some moments, which is probably what they were going for with the kind of reboot thing. So, I mean, anything you can kind of criticize, they've already criticized themselves in the film. So
Well, that's always been Scream, hasn't it? You know, I mean, if you look at the original Screams, I hope you don't mind me saying this. Oh, I'm going to get slapped the next time I see you. But they're not great films. But the idea is they're not meant to be. That's the parody. That's the idea. Yeah, it's this killer that is very aware of what he's doing and very aware that it's very cliche, but he thrives in it, and that's what makes him so charming. I think, or her, because again, multiple killers.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the film so charming, is that it's so self-aware and it's so knowledgeable to what it's doing that when you watch it, you're kind of like, I can't criticize this because they know they're doing it.
Yeah.
But it works. It works very well as well. You know.
Yeah, I would say the original Scream is a great film, but that's just me.
No, the original. Yeah, the first. Yeah.
The sequels maybe had some issues, but it did kind of roll into the silly and comedy aspects a bit too much. Yeah, I don't know. This one is taking a little bit of a different turn, but it's still very familiar.
Yeah.
As far as the and stuff in this, bleep that out.
This isn't the spoiler section yet, so it would have been bleeped, and the next word after it would have been bleeped as well. Just so you won't know. But there will be a spoiler section, so you'll know when that's happening. But yeah.
Motives maybe a little bit weak in this one, but I can't complain. It was the original idea.
No, that's what I heard about it as well. Pretty good. All right, now spoiler territory. I don't mind having spoilers for this film because I do love Scream, but I will wait for it to come out before I see it, so it'll be a while. But so yeah, spoiler section. It's written on the screen. If you listen to this part and complain about being So the first thing that you were going to mention was earlier the YouTuber in it. So what YouTuber appears?
Oh right, you like this one? It's Dead Meat, the kill counter.
Really?
He's basically reviewing Stab 8, which is like an absolute horrible film within the Scream universe, which is based off the original murders.
Yeah.
It's like so meta, it's unbelievable.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool.
It's quite funny because they've got like the ghost face in Stab 8 has got a chrome mask and he's got like a flamethrower. It's like so ridiculous.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Which leads into like the motives of the killer, but I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
So the interesting thing with this one is the opening girl actually survives the first attack in the opening scene, and she's throughout the whole film. There's Jenny Ortega, which who was talking about, is probably one of the stars of the new cast, in my opinion. Samantha, who's supposed to be our Sydney, is not as interesting, but she does have a connection. She's basically Billy Loomis's, the original killer's daughter.
Okay.
So she kind of has that kind of psychopathic streak, and she keeps seeing visions of Billy.
Okay, yeah.
Which is, and they've done like this kind of, they actually got Skeet Ulrich back to kind of play Billy, and you do see him. Okay. He's obviously aged a little bit, so he doesn't look exactly the same, but it's really cool to see him. It's like a nod to the original.
No Matthew Lillard.
no, that's
not a
disappointment for some people.
That would be
maybe maybe going forward.
Yeah, you never know.
There's a few characters who actually survived the previous films.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
we actually learned in this one through an Easter egg that Kirby survived the last film, which is she was like one of my favorites from the last one.
Oh, that's good then.
It was nice that Sydney was back. She's married to, as far as a lot of people have theorized, she says Mark, so we think it's Mark Kincaid from Scream 3, who was like a detective, which is really cool detail. It's like every little detail they thought about. You're like, oh, this is so cool.
It's like they thought about everything.
But yeah, so the first girl survives the whole film, and then it kind of brings everyone back. Dewey and Gail and everyone. Gail's got her own morning show. Dewey is kind of a beat up,
alcoholic.
Kind of, a bit of alcoholic, living in his trailer. It's really sad kind of love story. That's kind of like the love story of this film, between Dewey and Gail, because it's kind of sad to see them apart, because they were like married in the previous one.
Yeah.
And obviously things haven't worked out, but they still care about each other. Like, it's quite clear.
Yeah.
Like he's texting her at one point. And he's like, I still, and then he like deletes it, and he's like, oh, and it's like, oh, come on, Dewey.
Go on, Dewey. I love you, Dewey.
Halfway through the film, Dewey gets killed. So
this isn't like a Scream 2 thing, is it? Like he doesn't actually get killed.
He gets proper killed, dual bladed style.
Why? That's like my favourite character in Scream, fam.
I know, he was actually great in this film, probably better than Sydney and Gale.
Yeah, I've been told that Dewey basically was the best performer out of all the originals.
Yeah. When it got towards the end, I think that's what kind of brings Dewey and Gale back to Woodsboro, because they hear about his death and they have to kind of come and help, and Sydney wants to like just, she's like so done with this, she just wants to kill who's doing this, which is fair enough. But yeah, so they come back and it kind of all kind of culminates in this big showdown at the end, and where the killer is revealed. Killers. Ooh. It all goes back to the original house, because one of the girls in the friends group has bought its original house. She's obsessed with the Stab movies. Yeah. She was so upset with Stab 8 and how they disrespected the franchise that she wanted to kind of make some new source material.
Do you feel like the directors were channeling energy for Scream 5? Like, just in case, you know?
But yeah, she ends up being the killer, along with the boyfriend of the new Sydney, which I'll call her. Which is, it's predictable, but it also isn't predictable, because we weren't thinking that like it was going to be so obvious, which is quite good.
Fair dude.
But yeah, it's the whole kind of psycho fan twist that they're kind of so obsessed with these films that they really want more films, and they do anything to get more films. So they're making some more source material for the films, which is an interesting take. I think it is kind of out there, but all the motives are a bit out there. So they're not my favorite killers. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But anytime we do see Ghostface, it is well treat worthy.
So what mask did they use for this one? Is it a new one? Is it the original? What did they go for?
I think it's definitely like I don't think it's the original one, because that's kind of a bit weird. But I think it's just the kind of continuation of the Scream 4 mask. But yeah, I think. Another con, I would suppose, is this was all filmed in like COVID times, so I think that may have restricted it, and it does kind of have that kind of slightly cheaper, look to it. But it can't be helped. They're not Wes Craven, they're not. It's not Dimension films anymore. It's
I think. Do you think that would have played to their advantage as well? Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think the directors probably went in that direction. Like they didn't want to make it like Wes Craven would have made it, because you can't replace Wes Craven.
No.
He is a genius when it came to horror. He also did, normal films, but he was a genius when it came to horror. And, I think, do you think it played to the director's strengths that they didn't try to copy him?
Yeah, I suppose so, but I think there's like a fan tribute to him, but also trying to incorporate their own style, which may have got a bit lost in there somewhere, but I'm not sure.
That's fair.
But I think it was, they did it well.
That's the main thing.
So I'd recommend it. But yeah, is there anything with spoilers that you mentioned? I don't know.
No,
you said spoiler section, so I just basically told you the whole plot.
That's fine. I'm fine with it. Again, if you've just watched all of that, then you were warned. Like you were. I don't know what to tell you. If you can't read and can't hear, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How would you have known?
Yeah. So it was an interesting overall film. They're trying to kind of do the original, like the original killer is back.
Yeah.
They say in the film, Ghostface isn't Michael Myers or Freddy, someone who's going to come back. They want to try and make it like that. And obviously it's like such a fan service that they even like talk about in the film. I'm dying for some fan fiction.
Yeah, I'm dying for some fan fiction.
But,
I wonder if she said that before she died.
I mean, talking about the super meta, like overly meta scenes. There's a scene where, obviously, in the first Scream, Randy is watching Stab and going, "Behind you, he's behind you, look behind you," and then you can see a Ghostface in there. Well, one character in this one is watching the Stab version of that. And whilst it's like a movie within a movie within a movie within a movie, like, based on a movie.
Yeah.
And then the Ghostface is behind her. She's like, behind you, Randy, come on. And then she's like, oh.
So it's like a nod, basically.
Yeah. So it just kind of like beat you over the head with that, meta stick.
Yeah,
But hey, it's Scream, that's what you sign up for, and what you expect is what you get with this.
Yeah, it's definitely. Well, I mean, as a Scream fan, would you say you're looking forward to the rest of them then?
I am, yeah. I'm just apprehensive about what they're going to do with the legacy characters, because they did bring them back, and it did feel worthy this time. But I'm not sure how much more they can take.
Yeah.
With coming back to Woodsbury, like what would be the reason for it?
Especially if Dewey's dead now. That's like, yeah. Yeah,
there's like character development in Gale where she doesn't really want to report on the gruesome details anymore. She'd rather report on, she doesn't want to give them the notoriety and stuff.
Yeah.
So she's her arc has kind of changed a bit. So why would she want to come back to cover more of them? And Sydney's just so over this. She's just like, right, you've got 5 seconds to come out of here before I shoot you, whether you're a killer or not.
Yeah, that's probably worse. But I mean, no, I get what you mean. It's that thing of when does it stop being kind of a nice nostalgia trip, and when does it start becoming sort of a tool that's used to try and just coax in people who are fans of the series. But
going forward, they probably need to change up a few little bits and maybe not have the legacy characters, or just have very, very brief cameos with them.
Yeah.
Or maybe bring in other characters from the franchise, like Kirby would be a nice one to bring back for some action. So I'm interested. They've left the plot kind of. So obviously at the very end we get like a showdown, and our main New Sydney, which I should keep calling her New Sydney. She's basically, obviously she's the daughter of Billy Williams, so she kind of sees Billy in the mirror, and they like nod to each other as she's kind of about to kill the killer, and so she goes absolutely ballistic and stabs the absolute out of him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of concerning because I suppose it's supposed to be taken as she's kind of letting go of all that past, but the way she does it is so animalistic and killerish, and she even does the blade wipe at the end,
so they're definitely going to be
kind of setting up, future ones. Maybe she's unstable, but it would be a bit obvious if it was her. But
I mean, that definitely sounds like an open door to sort of play around with it, though. Like you could have another film where for the first half it is her, but then she gets killed by another person that's doing the.
Yeah, I mean, obvious is the new unknown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Scream is one of those franchises as well where I think they do have a lot of creative freedom, and you can do whatever you want, because Scream just. It literally is just a trope in itself at this point, you know. But that's what makes it work. That's what makes it so fun and enjoyable to watch. Is that it's so cliche and it's so obvious.
And I would be interested to see where they can go with the meta things next as well, because if they've parodied, well, not parodied, I keep saying that word, because that's scary movie parody term. They've referenced horror films, they've referenced sequels, they referenced trilogies, they referenced reboots. Now, like the requels, what other ideas are there going to be around?
Requels.
Yeah, Shriekquels, Screamakes.
Remakes.
So, we'll see how it can go with the meta, but I'm sure they've got some. It's very cleverly done. So
it clearly wasn't rushed. They took their time to build on it, especially considering how long was it? 10 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, 10 years is a long time to build a story out of, and I mean, you can tell they didn't want to just chuck any out for it, especially
because you could easily just make a horror film with a guy in a mask. But it's definitely thought about it well.
I'm glad to hear that they thought about it more than they did the Freddy Krueger remake, which had such potential.
Yeah, they should have done a requel, you see. Maybe that's the next stage.
Yeah, should have just reboot it.
That would be interesting, actually. Yeah.
I'd like to see a reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street. It's been too long as a personal fan of it, and I'd like to be able to come on here.
Would you like to see it with legacy characters in there?
Ooh, good question.
Robert Englund's kind of back.
Welcome back, by the way, people that have off the spoiler part now.
We'll
move
on from
but no, would I like to see a remake with legacy characters? I don't know. Like Robert Englund has said himself. Nancy. Robert Englund said himself, like, he couldn't come back and play Freddy anymore. Freddy's a very physical character. It's not something he could do.
But they all say that until the...
Well, no, but he even got offered to do another one, apparently, and he said no. So I think, quite frankly, it'd be nice to maybe see him as a cameo in it. I don't know if I'd want to see him as like a main character. They kind of did that in... what was it? Nightmare on Elm Street 6 or 7, when they had the actual character, like Robert Englund was Robert Englund in the film, playing Freddy Krueger. Yeah, New Nightmare. Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. Yeah, that's when they tried to first reboot it with Robert Englund.
Yeah,
and it didn't work. It wasn't a bad film, but it certainly didn't live up to the expectations of anything else. But yes, I mean, maybe it'd be nice to see kind of like a few little cameos here and there. But I think the problem with Nightmare on Elm Street is it's very hard to do that. Especially if they say do a remake with legacy characters. A lot of them are dead.
Yeah.
So
it'd have to be like a new Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Someone born from something different.
Yeah, and not just that, but it's if you're carrying on from that legacy, do you continue with Jason versus Freddy as well? So they're in the same universe. Probably not. That's what they did with the reboot. They were hoping to have the universes cross again, but it's like both reboots failed and flopped. So I don't know. It's a tough one. I think Wes Craven was such a genius when he made these IPs that it's very hard to bring them back and not make them feel already done.
Yeah.
But Scream, I mean, it has that advantage. I don't think A Nightmare on Elm Street has that privilege, unfortunately. So
yeah,
I think it'll be a long time before we see something good come out of that.
Yeah. Because we had the Halloween films, which the
most recent one was Halloween Kills, wasn't it?
Yeah,
which I haven't seen yet. Yeah, I've not seen either.
So they obviously they're kind of rebooting it, but with the same characters and a different generation, as it were.
Yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis came back for both, I think. 2017 version. Was it 2017 or 2016 they did last? And then
it was a 2018 and 20...
and then they did Halloween Kills then, wasn't it? So
yeah, which is a direct continuation of it.
Yeah.
Which might be what they do with Scream 6. I don't know what they call it though.
Yeah. No. Oh, that's a good long discussion about that. I like that. That's good.
I know. I could have done like a whole section on it. If there's anything for me to talk about, it's Scream.
That'll be a clip. But yeah, I haven't actually got any films and stuff. I mean, I have two very small things. Two animes that I just dusted off because they were pretty much done anyway, which was Dead Man Wonderland and... No, just Dead Man Wonderland. So I finished that. It was a good one. Go check it out.
I get the feeling there's a risque one written down there, but you couldn't be asked to explain.
No, it was... I did put Lost Series 3 down, but we're still watching through that, so...
Yeah, season 4. How dare you?
Season 4, yeah, sorry. God.
2021, goddammit. Oh! 2022.
Yeah, no, so yeah, and I've started watching through Peaky Blinders as well, but I haven't watched enough of it to kind of comment on it yet. So, but yeah,
I got through American Horror Story 1984, it's a very good series. I always enjoy it. I just like started the next episode of the next season. But yeah, it's a very, very much inspired by a particular film, Friday the 13th.
yeah,
It's just so good. You get the camp counselors, but it's always got that American Horror Story twist to it, hasn't it?
yeah,
Which is so unique, and you can never predict what happens in these shows. It's just so wacky and zany and out there, which
crazy.
is why I love it.
Yeah,
it just kind of turns horror into something fun. Like Wes Craven once said, horror, being scared can be fun. When it comes to horror, and that's what they encapsulate in that series, I think.
Yeah.
With the zaniness and the craziness. Obviously, they're not quite scary, I would say. It's more kind of theatrics of horror.
I know the original 3 series, I'd say, of American Horror Story weren't so much scary, but very unsettling and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And sometimes horror comes from being uncomfortable, not actually being scared.
Yeah.
So
it's like you can't. If there's one criticism, I suppose they kind of overwhelm the audience with so many things going on at once that maybe they could dial it down a bit. But I mean, that's part of American Horror Story, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit like
overly complicated.
They very much know that it's over convoluted, but
yeah,
they just roll with it anyway because they don't give.
I don't give a.
I know. We know this is cool.
Yeah.
Look at our sexy cast.
And now their tops off again.
Yes, let's make them all make out, regardless of gender.
But yeah, right. Shall we move on to our final thing?
Yes.
Of the day. Interesting Tings, and I actually have one.
Oh wow! I
don't shoot away.
I did. Well, we did talk about the whole male. Safety thing, but
we did have a long discussion about that, which was
that's
good.
What I would say was my contribution to that.
Yes, no, it was a good one as well. So this was my question this week, right? An interesting point that came up when I was watching something else. Would you rather a creative mind that is never satisfied, or a satisfied mind that is easily satisfied, essentially? So someone that no matter how much work so creative in the sense of no matter how much work you do, you're never happy. So you're always work after work after work after work, no rest. Or would you rather a satisfied mind that could be like, I could just do a simple 9 to 5 and I'm happy with that?
I don't know.
And if you don't know which one you are, which one do you think you would like?
I don't know. I probably like the satisfied mind.
Yeah.
And just doing the boring, mundane things. At least then you have the ability to be kind of stable, and with like some downtime, you can actually enjoy life.
Enjoy life.
So yeah, I'd probably go for enjoying life over working yourself to death.
I would rather be satisfied because enjoy life.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's a simple answer.
Yeah, that's fair. But what do you think you are then in real life? I mean, in day-to-day life, do you think you're a satisfied mind, or do you think you're more creative?
Probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
I'm a creative, but
your job kind of requires that.
Yeah. But it's like, I can be satisfied, but I can't be satisfied at the same time. So
yeah. Okay. Oh, fair enough.
I haven't thought about it. Like that.
That's the point of these parts. Is to throw you off your game.
Just bring it on me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd definitely rather be satisfied. I mean, that sounds wrong.
I get you.
I just like that kind of stability and stuff, which is kind of ironic because I don't have the stability in my actual life.
No, I get you. Having that stability is like something that you know what you've done, and it's like you know what you're going to get. Yeah, it's like you want to know you're safe, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like that not knowing in the sense of, oh, well, I don't know how much I'm going to get paid this month, or I don't know how much work I've got this month, and that so on and so forth. It's like never, always worrying, essentially.
It's unsettling.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just have to try and put that to one side and just have a word with yourself every now and then.
No, you listen here. Looking in the mirror.
Sunshine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get you. No, I personally, if I would love a satisfied mind, because I have a creative mind and it never shuts up. I am never satisfied. As you will know, I work too many hours and I do too much, right? And it's unrealistic how much I do. It's why I've been a lot stricter on myself since I've come back. But it's that weird thing of like, I want to be satisfied because I want to be able to sit down at the end of the day and kind of go, well, I've done 10 hours of like editing and streaming or whatever I've done that day. That's a lot. Like, pat on the back, well done, you've done a lot, James. But never has that happened. I sit down and I'll literally lie down to go to bed and be like, I should be editing a video, or I should be doing this, or I should be planning this, I should be doing this. I'm never satisfied, and I always just want to keep creating. And great, that's amazing, and it's lovely to want to be able to create stuff all the time. But it's so draining, so tiring, and I burn myself out. Sir, I haven't done it recently, which is good. I've been a good boy.
Yeah.
But I realized when I turned 25, I was like, this is now going to become an issue if I don't get it under control. Because you can't work 100-hour work weeks every week. It's just, you can't do it. Doesn't matter how you spin it. Doesn't matter how you want to do it. You can't do it. So I've chatted with you about it, and I've had advice off you, and I've chatted with other people as well in my life, and tried to get some sense of calm. But I still find myself, especially, one thing it's definitely come down to with me is editing, right? And as a fellow editor, I'm sure you will get this. You know, when you create something, you finish a project, you're like, great, that's done, cool. I go back into like something. I'm like, right, okay, I know what I want to gain from this. I know what I want to do with this. And even when I know what I want, I still try to do more. Like you learn how to do something new, and suddenly now you're spending another 3 hours doing this one thing. Yeah. And it's crazy to me because you forget how quick time goes, and then you're looking at the time, you're like, Jesus, I've wasted my entire day.
Yeah.
At least you get paid for your editing.
I guess I'm at the mercy of having people that want to send it back and make changes and stuff all the time. So it's not my complete creative vision, but it is kind of halfway there. Yeah. I just realised that you never actually will be completely satisfied with everything you do. But
it's nuts.
As long as it's enough to satisfy the customer, or what it is you intend to do, then it is okay.
It's relinquishing that. I think I'd rather be an editor for someone, because editing for myself is
you've got impossibly high standards.
Yeah, not just impossibly high standards, but it's unrealistic standards as well. Like the editing I do, because I've changed my editing slightly, as you guys would have seen in the last podcast. It has changed. I wanted to put a bit more effort in. I wanted to make more of an effort when it came to the podcast, because, well, I'm very proud of this podcast. And I love this podcast more than most people can imagine. It's always fun to do and everything. So putting that little bit of effort in for me doesn't mean like I'm more than happy to do that. But it's just, I don't know. It's this thing of this impossible task of constantly being like, it needs to be better. There needs to be more. I need to do more. I need to go further. And it's like, you don't. Brain, go away. Enough, Yeah. So, I don't know.
Put in perspective.
Yeah, it's crazy. And as well as editing all my VODs and stuff down, although I've got better with it, I've also upped the production on them. So they do take longer. So it's, and especially with the censor and stuff. Like, I'm proud of it, and I'm very proud of all the work, but it's tiring.
Just put like an 18 rate. Oh, I suppose some stuff you still need to censor.
Yeah, it's crazy how, especially with YouTube, like, it's the worst. Like, one swear, like, if you have anything above that video ain't going anywhere, because it will be rated 18. Even if it's like one in an hour-long video. That's it. Your video is slapped with an 18 rating. It's screwed. It's not going anywhere. So it's nuts how much necessary that you have to do just to get it eligible. But yeah, I don't know, crazy. Plus,
Twitch is probably the more lucrative one.
I don't know, because it depends on your audience. YouTube, you could make more money from. But Twitch is more reliable, I guess, because you don't have to censor so much over there. But with YouTube, it's like, because you're uploading the content, it's like you have to have a certain level of censorship and whatnot. So, but again, a lot of the pressure I put on myself. I'm very aware of this. It's not like I have a gun to my head.
But in order to eradicate that, you'd have to basically have no fun when you're playing games. You have to be
exactly
mute anyone else you play with.
And I don't want to censor myself or other people as well. It's I'm
not going to read the chat. I'm just going to play.
I remember when because I've been sending you and Robin obviously the Fortnite videos, and I remember you made a comment on, we're going to have to stop swearing so much because he has to keep editing stuff. But I hate that idea, because that's just us when we play games. Well, mate, we've sworn so many times during this podcast, but I wouldn't ask that to change, because otherwise it wouldn't be authentic. It wouldn't be us.
Yeah.
So stuff it. I'm willing to put the time in to do it, but I need to better myself at being accepting and not putting so much on myself.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe that's me overthinking it. But yeah.
Yeah.
King of overthinking.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome. Bears.
Well, I think that is a natural conclusion to
it is. I do believe so. So yeah, thank you to everyone who watched. We hope you enjoyed. And it's been fun talking to you again, mate, as always. Always is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Likewise to you.
I do enjoy these podcasts. They're always fun.
Don't forget, what's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh. I'll answer that in the next one. But yeah. But yeah. The Babadook. The Babadook. I haven't actually watched that yet.
I remember watching it. I remember thinking it's good, but I can't really remember much of it. All I remember is Babadook.
Yeah, man. But yeah, thank you to everyone for watching. We hope you enjoyed the podcast as always. If you ever have any suggestions for us, leave them down in the comments or message myself or Sean, because most people watch us know us. That's fine. You're beautiful. But thank you to everyone for watching. Again, thank you to Sean for joining me as always. And
thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye for now.